my machete gonna chop her to the wire.
Hey, bum the way.
Wrapped in spaghetti, about to catch me on fire.
Hey, bum the way. So bum the way. Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Are you ready for the Savannah car? Away from the drama and the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way.
I don't like living in a simulation.
Hey, bum the way.
Unplug my way back to civilization.
Hey, bum the way. So bum the way. Bum the way.
Bum
the way. Bum the way.
Me take the incline and I can't see the stars. Me can't feel the human from beyond the avatar. Just the prison, fuck the algorithm. If your battery is dying and you're getting busy living, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way.
Are you ready for the Savannah car? Away from the drama and the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way.
Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the Live Loving live stream here in the fabulous John of New Studios. I hope you guys are doing well this evening. I definitely am. I have officially reached the midpoint of the water fast. Today was dead middle, so tomorrow is beginning the downhill trek to the end of the fast. So very excited. Hello, Dark Mother and Tina. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Siddharth, pleasure to see you back. And I see my sister Patty has made it into the house. Hello, Patai, or as my son would call her, Tia Patia. I hope you guys are doing well. Joyful Mystic, Kate, welcome. Green Country Agroforestry, woohoo! Glad you guys are here. Well, thank you, Jermel. I do my best to only put out my truth, and I expect no one to take what I say as true, but I hope they'll all find their own truth and maybe find some truth in my own. Hello, Joe Wardzilla and Dark Mother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you may know, guys, our good friend Marcy can't be here, and Bright Love's going to kick out early because she's got a sister in town from Ohio, which is interesting. She should have come this way and visit us in Ohio. That said, I just want to make sure that everyone remembers that if you have questions or comments for me, please put them in all caps, because especially now with being down Marcy as well, it makes it much easier for me to see them when they're in all caps, and I appreciate that. And I'll jump right into one here. Hello, Dark Mother. What is the best way spiritually to deal with chronic pain? The thing about chronic pain that's interesting is, the Gnostic Gospel of Mary Magdalene says that all ailment comes from fear. But what happens is we have a primal response to pain, especially if we don't want it, we fear it, the pain itself, and so our body tenses to cope with it. And the more you can release that tension within yourself and just simply, guess what, exhale, let the body relax fully, that's the fastest way to alleviate the pain in your body, because usually the pain in the body is coming from the tension that is being created within you. And so if you can break the tension, you can break the actual pain usually. And it's a matter of you allowing your body to be fearless. And the less fear you have, the less pain you will have. Hope that answers your question. Okay, Siddharth. How to deal with self-love when you're in a rocky relationships? Well, the question is a tough one to answer, because the reason you have the rocky relationship, I don't have any information on that. Rocky relationships are usually because of a lack of communication of some kind, and usually it's because people are not being authentic in themselves. They're trying to put on masks to either please the other or placate the other. And so it comes back to open communication. And sometimes in that sort of situation, you have to find out whether or not that communication is such that the stories being told back and forth are actually stories that mean you're not in alignment with one another, or maybe you are more in alignment with one another than you think you are, but you're not being open in that communication. To love yourself means to bring yourself to present moment fearlessness as much as possible, to bring yourself to that space of understanding that you don't have to be subjugated to someone or to create a relationship where you have to serve. And a lot of highly empathic people get into relationships with narcissistic people because the empathic person is one who wants to give and the narcissist is one who wants to take. Now, I'm not saying that's your situation at all. I don't know your situation. But a lot of times it's a matter of understanding you have to realize that no is a complete sentence, and that is the loving thing to do for you. Also, the concept of saying that when they're having a rough day, giving them as much leeway as they can. But sometimes it's also as important just to say that's their issue. It's not mine, and not making it your own. So the best way to self-love yourself is love yourself equally enough to know not to put yourself in bad situations. I'm not sure if that answers your question, because it is a hard question to answer because of the fact that I don't know the circumstances that you're in. And listen to Chitra when she says, like the video, please. I appreciate that. Good evening, Rover Dean. Hi, Barb. How are you? This is a great question. Let's first talk about a little bit of history on Reiki. Reiki was invented in the 1920s, and it is one of the classic New Age ideologies that came out of the Theosophical era. But does it work? Sure, it works. Every modality works if the person who is going through the process believes it works. That's why placebos work, for the same reason. When I have helped people come to healing within themselves, the first question before I start anything is, what do they believe? And then I do my best to meet them where they are, and I try to bring them to present moment belief in their healing using their modality. That's one of the reasons why I've read so many things, is because I want to be able to talk Buddhism or Hinduism or Christianity or Islam, or I want to be able to come at it from the perspective. And I had someone ask me today, well, what about atheists? Well, you can talk Einstein and Tesla, and you can come at it from a very scientific point of view and still bring them to faith and healing. That's actually not hard to do at all. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that they believe that the healing is happening in the now. And so, does it work? That really is the up to the person who's being healed, really. And to clear auras and repair tears. This is part of a New Age belief. For me personally, that's all very much New Age beliefs. But like I said, if you put faith in them, they're going to work. So that's my thought on that. I hope that answers your question. Hey, Larry, how are you? Chitra. I love this comment. It's what's really interesting about this is you remember the actress Marielle Hemingway from the TV show Taxi? She remembers every moment of her life from birth, and it's really interesting to hear her talk about it because she has complete memory through the entire process. And so, do I think it's possible? Absolutely. Do I have that memory? Nope. No way. Let's see, what's this one? Best way to get ready for a session with me. Actually, honest to God, the best way is just hop on the Zoom. There's no special thing you need to do. Just show up. And about an hour before I do your session, I sit down, I write your name on a sheet of paper, I exhale, and I start just listening to the oneness. And I put stuff down on paper. So, if you want to do it at the same time, it's about an hour before I do that. It's not necessary because we're all in the oneness always. There's no need to connect that way. But if you'd like to do that, that's totally good too. Howdy, Tritark, how are you? Scoot's Gaming Room, hello. Oh, I'm glad that helped you, Renee. See, I grew up Catholic but feel alienated from the church proper. How would Jesus and the Father prefer we worship? I simply light a candle and talk to God for peace on earth every day. It's a great, great question. For me, I don't believe in a male patriarchal God that I have to worship or adore, because I believe in the oneness and non-duality of God, as Jeshua talked about. And I just did a video on this today which is coming out on Sunday on the Recovering Catholic channel. It's all about how Jesus, Jeshua, was a non-duality teacher, and it talks about this idea of this messiahs and guide figures that we place on pedestals, and how that's actually not what the teachings are. The teachings are, God is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Greater works than I have done you will do. It's your faith that heals you. You have faith as small as a mustard seed. You can ask a mountain to move. It's not about an external God that would prefer anything. It's a symbiotic relationship with God that Jeshua taught. And so and the light a candle, if you want to light a candle, that's beautiful. There are no rituals needed to talk to God. All of those things are happening in the illusion of belief that we're living in, and none of them are necessary. Now, I would say when you pray for peace on earth every day, rather than praying for peace on earth from the perspective of the world is not peaceful, say we are receiving a beautiful, loving, peaceful world. So focus on the peaceful world, just like Mother Teresa said. When they asked her to go to the anti-war rally, she said, no, have a pro-peace rally and I'll come. Joe, yes, I saw that movie and I loved that movie. A double surprise ending. That was the greatest. I loved it. I thought it was wonderful. If anybody hasn't seen Conclave yet, I highly recommend it. And obviously Joe does as well. You know, Larry, this is a great thing. It seems to always come down to love versus fear in this realm, doesn't it, John? Thank you for making it so simple and eloquent. Actually, Larry, I got to tell you, this for me comes from my very first regression. I kept saying, under hypnosis, I kept saying everything is love. And then I came to the understanding that the next important moment after experiencing that love of God was that my fears and anxieties gave me the baseline to measure that love against so I could come to know that love more fully. It does always come down to love is fear. You know, like I said, Mary Magdalene says the root of all ailment is fear. And so the Buddha says the secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear. The Sufis say the veil between you and God is your fear. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. It always comes down to this idea that fear is the thing we overcome while we're here, and we experience it here. And you can absolutely measure your experience in life through whether you are reacting fearfully or out of love. And when you come back to the loving eloquent, I love the word eloquent there, but coming back to the loving space, that beauty, that grace, then you are then creating that into your experience. And I think that it's the simplicity of my personal truth. Like I said, I would never ask anyone to take it, but for me, living from that perspective has given me amazing, incredible things in my life, and I'm so grateful. Let me jump over here to Tritarch. What is your opinion on seeking isolation from people in the world? Well, I personally, coming from an introverted perspective myself, I prefer to be in my own home. I don't like going out to crowds. You know, I go home for Christmas and I'm there and I visit and I don't go do a lot of other things because it's just not what I'm into. The question is, are you seeking isolation for fear, or are you seeking isolation just because you like being isolated? And it really comes down to, why are you seeking isolation? For me personally, I don't fear the world, and I don't try to hide from the world, but I do the things that I like to do. And for me, that is a lot of the things around my home and in my home. And so I guess the question really comes down to is, in your situation, especially Tritarch, is it you succumbing to fear that you're seeking to isolate, or is this just the way you love to live your life? And that's the only decision you can make to decide whether it's a loving thing for you or a fearful thing for you against the world. That's really the big question that you must answer. Chili or kraut? Why must I choose? I like them both. Did Jeshua talk about consciousness? Not in the way you think. Consciousness is very much a modern terminology, coming out of a lot of different things, psychotherapy, hypnosis, neurolinguistics, and spirituality. But for the most part, Jeshua talked about being one with the Father and you being divine. That was the basics of his teachings, was that you are already divine. You were already in the now, divine and connected and able to create. And so it wasn't talked about in a consciousness way like we would talk about it today. Hope that answers your question. Leonardo da Vinci, very interesting question, Chitra. I think Da Vinci and a lot of artistic people especially, the reason why they're so artistic and able to do that and think so broadly is because there is a little clearer or thinner veil there. And I think he had an amazing intellect that was connected to a lot of things. I mean, he did drawings of helicopters and airplanes and all kinds of amazing things. And I think that, you look at people like Nikola Tesla. He has some amazing things he said. Albert Einstein, he had some amazing things he said. And when you look at it from the perspective of some people's veil is just a little thinner, and they seem to get things a little differently. I know my sister, there's a condition that she was talking about how some people can't see pictures. You say picture an apple, and they can't picture the apple. Meanwhile, you say to me picture an apple, and I can paint that apple down to its minute details, every little freckle on the apple, every little leaf, every little piece, and I think that some people just have a different way of creating into the world, and I think that some people create more cerebrally, some people create visually, and for me, my mind works in a way that I see things from the perspective of art and visual, and I get full running videos, and I'm sometimes I'm even able to go back and rewind what I just saw. So in other words, I was driving down the road with my ex-comedy partner one time, and he said, "Oh, did I miss my exit?" And I was actually able to rewind what I just saw in my head and read a road sign and say, "Yes, you missed your exit." Now, other people can't get that kind of visual. I can literally rewind the visual sometimes. So it comes down to understanding that we all have different perspectives on the world, and Da Vinci and Tesla and all those probably had a more open consciousness, as Donna would say. Okay. Oh, Steve, that's awesome. That's awesome. Panic attacks, all that is succumbing to fear. And if you can just release the fear, then just exhale. Just take that moment to exhale. Hello, Susan Kelly. Welcome, welcome. I agree with you, Larry. That was a great question. Oh, yeah. Renee, I love this comment. I've been to churches but never really felt comfortable being there. I was told that I must not believe. I would always tell them that I could believe in Jesus and God without having to go to church. I did a video last Sunday on the Recovering Catholic channel saying Jesus never said you had to go to church, and he didn't. Church is, and it's interesting because church is on Sunday usually, and in reality, the Bible talks about the Sabbath, which is Saturday. So I don't know why Sunday became a Christian ideology. Patty, you're right. That aphantasia. It is very interesting. When you told me about that, I was fascinated. Love this question. What is your opinion on having faith when even when situation seems challenging. Nothing challenges you without your permission. Nothing challenges you without your permission. We go through our life processing information that's in front of us, and we process through the fight or flight response. Is this a threat or is it not? When you are challenged by something, there's some fear base there, and if you can just simply exhale and release that fear base, you can not have a challenging situation. There are so many things in my life that I've overcome over the years, and they were challenging while I was in them. Now I don't have those situations even come up anymore because I don't allow myself to be challenged by them. I just look at everything as information and say, oh, this is just information. I'm going to deal with what I have to deal with within this information. And so that's the way I handle it. And the next part of this question is having faith really depends on what your interpretation of faith is. If you're a Christian, it means faith in Jesus. But to me and my belief system, faith just means belief. Having belief. Well, you believe the situation is challenging, it'll be a challenge. If you believe you'll get through this easily, you'll get through it easily. That's what the faith in this situation is. In this question, you're putting faith in challenges. So don't put faith in challenges. Don't give it your permission. I hope that answers the question. Susan, if you go to lightseedsbyholly.com, all of her information is right there. If you just want it directly, you can go Holly at lightseedsbyholly.com, and that's her direct email address. She's great. Speaking of Holly, a couple weeks ago we did an interview here in the house, and we now have several more signed copies of Signs Along the Path at reduced rates. If you go to lightseedsbyholly.com, all one word, lightseedsbyholly.com, on the home page there, you can get an autographed copy of that book, autographed by me and by Holly, for $5 off. And Holly's doing all the shipping herself, so it's going to be $5 plus $3 shipping, so it's going to be $18. Normally the book sells for $19.95 plus shipping, and now so you can get it for $18 directly shipped to your house by Holly, and they are autographed. While she was here, we signed a bunch of them so that you could get this special deal. So if you're interested in getting a copy of Signs Along the Path, the book that we co-authored, you can get it right on her site. Love that, Renee. Your choice of the things works out well. Is most of us know somebody who grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they did so because they believed they had a silver spoon in their mouth. And as long as you believe things are working out for you, they will. Bones, are you talking about the newest one? I love the newest one. It's actually probably my favorite of all the meditations I just did. The new one meditation, because it really is about getting you to that centered oneness with God. When I came up with the idea and I wrote that script for it, and then I tweaked it, and I kept coming back to how can I bring this to that moment where you're creating that oneness. And then when I had my first out-of-body experience, I could hear what sounded like a prolonged Om sound, and I laid that into the music underneath. So I'm really proud of that new meditation very much. Thank you for saying that. I know how I did it too. The painting here, I painted that painting in January of 2000, and I painted it. That was 6 months after my very first regression. That was painted from memory of from the regression, from what he looked like in the regression. This painting was painted this past September, And if you were to go into my painting studio, you'd find like 6 or 8 canvas where I started that painting. For me, the most important part of that painting was getting her face right. And I just could not get her face right. And I just kept working it until I came to what she looked like there. And that is the face I remember from the regressions. So I guess Ali and Man, I'm not sure what the, how do you think I painted it? I'd love to hear your thought on that. I'll go back up here. Okay. Thanks, Susan. I like I like doing it. That was the first time I really, besides the interview I did with my friend Tim, it was the first time I did a 3 camera shoot in my house, and it was just kind of fun to do that with Holly. Yeah. I definitely painted that. Like I said, this past September, and yeah, it was a little bit of a journey trying to get that face right. That's very interesting. Life becomes amazing when trust in love is the compass. Yeah. What's interesting for most people, however, trust is developed by results over time. And so no trust is gained if no risk is taken. And so sometimes they have to risk the opportunity of being hurt by love to get to the point where they are in love and then can trust the love. So it's a matter of choosing to be loving, putting the love out there, and then literally developing the trust sometimes. But I love the comment. Thank you. Larry, you know what? The water fast is going fantastic. Today is literally the halfway point. Tomorrow I start week 5. I've lost, since this fast started, I've lost 14 pounds so far. Now, a lot of people say, John, you're not eating. How come you're not losing faster? When I first fasted years ago, I was losing sometimes a pound or 2 a day. This year, I started my process to go into this fast in January. What I did was I went real low carb in January, and I just went very low carb. And by the time I got to the water fast, I had already lost over 20 pounds. Then when I got into the build up to the fast, I went from low carb to zero carb for a week. And when you go zero carb, you lose a lot of hunger because you're no longer having the cravings for carbohydrates. And so I end up eating 1 meal a day during the zero carb. And then I go into a broth fast where I'm still taking in broth and butter. So I'm getting the salt and all that in there. And then I go into the water fast. And it was very easy this year. It was a very easy journey with the fast this year. Oh, you're quite welcome. When you say she has a more delicate face, are you saying that you think that my painting is wrong? But I worked hard to get that face to look the way it looks because that's exactly the face that I remembered. So I don't know. Listen to Chitra, people. Remember to like the live session. You know what, Susan? I feel fantastic. I feel just really good. I have a lot of energy. I also plan my fast very well. I look at the fast from the perspective of I have all this extra time where I'm not preparing food or eating food. And so I make a list of things to get done while I'm on the fast. And I have been very, very productive during this. My closets are getting cleared out. This weekend, I'm going to be clearing out my garage and getting it all cleaned up and get rid of a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to be donating a bunch of tools to the veterans and just really changing a lot of things and cleaning up a lot of things. So, you know, Chitra, this was my struggle mentally with this. It's not difficult for me to give up carbs, although I am a breadaholic and more likely I'm a pizzaholic. But what the only real mental struggle I have right now with the fast is my son coming to visit and him eating food around me. Like I'll order him a pizza and I'll smell that pizza. The smell will get me going, ooh, I'd like to have a bite of that. But if he wasn't here and that pizza didn't come into the house, I would not even think about it. So it was really easy for me to give up the carbs because I've been doing that for off and on for a while. And so to me it was actually very easily. But the mental challenges are less about the carbs and more about watching my son eat in front of me. This is a great question. I fast this time of year because summer is coming, and I don't want to fast during the holidays because I want to eat all that good crappy food. And so this has always seemed like a good time of the year. I usually do it. I actually started early this year. I usually do it starting in March and finishing in there, but I started a little earlier this year just because I really wanted to do it in a different way. I'm also not doing water for 40 days like I've done in the past. I'm only doing water for basically 28 days. But I'm doing broth fasting for 14 days of that outside of that. So I have 7 days of broth, 4 weeks of water, 7 days of broth, and then 0 carb on either end of that, and then regular out to low carb. There's no real specific reason other than I like the crappy food I get to eat the rest of the year. Wave Rider, you can ask anything you want. I am an open book, and if I can't tell you, I will. I'll let you know. Yeah, and if I can't, but I will answer anything. And while we're taking a stop here, most of these live streams are always recorded, and these live streams become recordings on the channel, and I no longer allow mid-roll ads in my videos. So I'm going to throw in one of my little commercials for Funky Joe here just for the video, if you don't mind. And now a quick word from our sponsor. Coffee Time with John. This channel runs off coffee, so get your coffee and tea at johnsjoe.com. Thank you for indulging me with that little little commercial in there. I'm so proud of that commercial. And for those of you who showed up for the 5-minute countdown beforehand, you got to hear my brother Jim playing Bummed Away to Way instead of the normal Back Bay Lounge song. And I kind of like that. I'm talking to him now about doing another song for that intro, but I really like the Bummed Away to Way song. Oh, thank you, Allie. Thank you very much. Be kind. It's interesting. During the fast, I have never needed to do any electrolytes or anything in the past. I've always just on the water part of the fast has always just been water. I always do have the plan, however, that if I do not feel well or something, that I'm going to take a broth in the middle of it, which is sodium, which is an electrolyte. And, but it also, I would put a little bit of butter in that broth so there'd be a little bit of fat in there too, which would bring up a bunch of the body, regulations. So that's what I would do. It's kind of a backup plan, but I've never had to do it. And I've done this for a long time. Sunshine Girl, welcome, 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 welcome. Deanna Roberts, this is a great question because I have met multiple people who think they're disciples. I've met I met multiple people who think they're John. I met multiple people who think they're Paul, Peter. I've met a couple of people who think they're Judas. I've met a couple of people who think they're actually Jesus. I've met over 30 women who think they're Mary Magdalene. And I've come to realize that I'm not sure I know what reincarnation really is. For me, I think we all could just be tapping into the oneness of God and picking up that information. I'd be a hypocrite to say they were wrong because I'm saying the same thing. So that's why if you look at my channel, it's called John of New, not John of Old, because I believe I'm John Davis because this is the moment that I'm conscious. And I don't believe in pre-planned missions or fates or destinies. I just think that we're all probably hitting the connection and experiencing that oneness of God. But I could be wrong. Maybe we are just going from life to life. But I don't believe in fates, destinies, or pre-planned missions because of the fact that in reality, fates, destinies, and pre-planned missions would take away all of your free will. And so all of the ancient texts say you have free will. So, but to answer your question, I have met several. In fact, I traveled all over Egypt, Israel, Greece, Jordan, and Peru with one man who remembers being Philip. I don't want to imply that he's not. I just want to, that's his belief. So, Theo, how are you? What is my favorite NDE? It's an interesting question because I do actually have a favorite double NDE. It's not my own. There's a famous story of a Christian girl who was living in India who got, her whole family got slaughtered by marauders and they left her to die. And she had a near-death experience and she remembered Jesus coming and saving her. She was found by a Hindu family who took her home and nursed her back to health and then raised her as their own child. Well, the people who came and killed her family found out she was still alive and came back to kill her again and left her dead a second time. Only this time, her near-death experience, it was Shiva who saved her. So to me, when I look at a near-death experience, I always go back to the idea that we are transitioning through our beliefs to go to the other side. Everyone always seems to forget that a near-death experience is a near-death experience. We are traveling through our belief system and out of our belief system. And so her first one was with Jesus because that was her family's belief and that's what she was being told. Her second one was with Shiva because her second family was not Christian. And so to me, it's a big validation for the concept of our thoughts being creative and this illusion of belief that surrounds us is what we transcend when we cross over. I hope that answers your question there, Theo. John's Joe coffee is fantastic. Everybody who's gotten it said it's great. My friend Tim just got a pack of Kenyan John's Joe because I have multiple countries' coffees, and he is madly in love with this. He usually drinks his coffee with cream and sugar, and he says this Kenyan's so good he can't put cream and sugar in it because he doesn't want to ruin it, which I love. Hey, we got an Aussie in the house. Hello, Bernadette. Welcome. It does, Allie. The butter does work well, and it tastes great. Can you give me the passage on that? Because it also says in the Bible to that which you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me, and that the kingdom of God is within you, and that the Father and I are one, and you are one with me as I am with the Father. So this idea of loving God more than one's neighbor, that's got to be either, well, it always comes back to the concept. The Bible was written by men and in a time that was very different, and the Bible's not infallible, and it's definitely not univocal. It's not speaking in one voice from God. It's speaking from many voices of men who are trying to figure out what God really is. So to me, yeah, I think it's God is love, and we are part of love. Well, James, when you this is when I let me just read it so everyone hears it. When I try talking to a Christian about Jesus being an enlightened teacher and not a Christ, they get defensive, almost combative. What's that about? Well, welcome to my world, my friend. I don't even go talk to Christians that way any longer because the fact that they have taken Jesus as a Christ means that he is the only Messiah and everybody else is wrong. And if you say anything else but him being the Messiah, you're challenging their beliefs directly, and you're going to burn in hell because you don't believe that Christ thing. But people don't realize that, first of all, the word Mashiach is the word that became Messiah, and it only meant teacher or wise soul, wise person. It does not mean an enlightened being who will take away the sins of the world on some energetic grand scale. It does not mean that there is this supreme deity that's walking among you and that we all need to bow down. But to be a Christian means you have to believe in that later theologian's idea of what Jeshua was and is. It really makes no sense to get into an argument with them about it, because if you're arguing with them about what they should be believing, that's you trying to subjugate them to your belief. The best way to show someone your beliefs is to be the fruit that your tree is bearing. Put the love into the world. Be the loving person that they see and go, oh, I really like, why are they so happy? Why are they so good? Why is love surrounding them in this world? And then they ask you, and then you say, well, this is my belief system. And then you don't try to sway them, because no one wants to be swayed. And so for me, that's why you always hear me say, I only speak my truth, because I do. I only speak my truth on my channel. And that truth is hopefully something that people will find their own truth in. But I think that there are many ways to find the love of God. And some people will find it in Christianity. Some people will find it in Islam, and some people will find it in New Age teachings. But I don't really care what route they take. All I care is, are they loving? Are they caring? Are they in this moment loving their fellow humans and being caring and being the expression of that love that their supposed spirituality or religion is supposed to be espousing? I hope that answers the question. Well, thank you, Green Country Agroforestry. Yeah, I think it. I'm not sure what it is, and to me, it doesn't even really matter whether it's reincarnation or incarnation. I think it's just a matter of who are you now in the only moment you're conscious, and so. As I said, Sunshine Girl, I don't know what reincarnation is or is not. But if it is, why wouldn't it include the man named Jeshua ben Joseph, right? Sure, why not? He's a man too. As is Buddha and Krishna and Muhammad and Baha'u'llah and Wayne Dyer and Shakespeare and Leonardo da Vinci. All of them could be totally, if there is a reincarnation, why not? But they all are also in the oneness of God. They all have been expressed in the oneness of God. So why wouldn't we be able to tap into that as well? And as I've shown in other videos and things, he showed up in a picture I took in Norway. So, and if you want to see that, there's a video on my channel called I Took a Picture of Jesus. And you'll see that picture and a whole bunch of other stuff too. But I don't really fully know or understand what reincarnation is, so I really can't go there. This is a very interesting question. Is there a common message you've been getting frequently of late for your clients? The predominant message always, always, always is get present and get fearless. Get present and get fearless. And if you can get present and get fearless, then you can create an amazing life, because when you are present and you are fearless, you are completely your authentic self. And then those who can love you for you will see you and love you. If you're not wearing your masks of fear, need, or want, and you're just being you authentically, which is present, fearless. That is the two key elements of every spiritual experience: present moment fearlessness. And if you can bring yourself to the present moment fearlessness, you can master your entire life. And master is an interesting word, but you can step into your divinity and create a beautiful experience just by getting present and fearless. It doesn't matter if you're that guy, Tritarch, or not. There are loose leaf teas on johnofnew.com. You can get the freshest tea that you've ever had right on johnofnew.com. If you look at that commercial I just played, it says tea right in it. So there you go. For me, I basically always have two versions of the coffee in my house. I like the simple 6-bean blend. I think it's very good. I also like the Peruvian decaf, because in the evening I will sometimes have coffee and I do not want the caffeination. And the Peruvian decaf is Swiss water decaf, so there's no chemical decaffeination. It's all done with water, and it's excellent. Like I said, my friend Tim likes the Kenyan. So, but those are the two that I typically drink. I will tell you, just personal opinion, I'm going to take it off of the John's Joe really soon. The whiskey barrel coffee, I'm going to have to try it again, because the one that I got was lousy. And if it's going to be lousy, it's not going to be on there. That's my thought on that. So, because I don't think, but I might have gotten a bad batch or something, but it was terrible. Anyway, moving on. This is a mix of the Matthew. It comes down to Jeshua saying, love others as I have loved you, and the Father in me. So it's like, it's very, very interesting. Who says it can't happen physically? I just think you can't believe it can happen physically. Your comment itself, you actually state it can't happen physically. Mountains move all the time. California is losing a whole town right now that's about to slide off. That's a mountain moving, right? People told me I would never walk again when I was 22. I did 4,000 live performances of a comedy sword fighting stunt show after that. There is nothing that's impossible, but only if you can believe it's possible. And in your statement here, you're only limited by what you believe. People will often tell me that they want to win the lottery, but they can't believe they're winning the lottery. They don't believe it's happened, right? And I took someone who was trying to win the lottery, and I took her out of the trying to create money. I took her down to creating something that had no monetary value, and then I transitioned her back to money. She hasn't won the lottery, but she's been finding $20 bills. So it's a matter of what can you believe? And your statement right there is a lack of belief. Allie, I love this, because my mom said spirituality is a personal journey, and I think it is absolutely a personal journey. Hey, Theo, thanks for the super chat. I love you for doing that. It really does help. The coffee sales, the private sessions, the donations that are on there. Those are that's my living. That's how I am able to do 1,800 videos in 4 years and 2 channels and even these live streams. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, you can be loving it. I've met beautiful, loving people from all religions. And when you ask them what's the most important thing in their life, they don't say their religion. They say their family, just like we would. So it's a matter of do the things that are loving. Oh, thanks, Wave Rider. That's really nice. My only memory of Mother Mary was of a doting mother who was very supportive, but still very much a woman of her time, not of a social structure of today. Every mother in their world doesn't, thinks that their child is acting grandiose or something of that nature. So, and once again, remember that the books are written by Greco-Roman Christians 70 to 200 years after the crucifixion. So most of these are stories that are created later. Anyway, my only memories of her was just to being a loving mother, and then traveling to Turkey, actually. I love this question. I thought he was a man who completely understood his own divinity, and a man who, when he came over and expressed that love to John of old directly, John left the physical world and went to the other side and literally experienced that love and purity. And if you want to hear that, go in. There's a video on my channel called 2 Moments from My Regression. You'll actually hear the moment where I met him and crossed over. And then just a heads up, if you watch that video, you'll also see that you also hear the moment that I witnessed him on the cross. And I cry when I watch that. And many people tell me they can't listen to it because you hear me screaming from the depths of my soul. Theo, empathic people want to save the world, but you can't save the world. You can only make your part of it so bright that others choose to save themselves by your example. So don't allow the outer expression make you sad, because that's you succumbing to the fears. And that experience in their own personal journey is theirs, not yours. Be the example of love and compassion so they can see it and then choose it. I hope that answers that question. Good night, Tritarch. Yeah, we're going to start winding down here too. I'm glad you liked the live stream, Susan Kelly. And Chitra's taking care of me already. I love that, Bernadette. Align yourself with love and everything else falls in place. The Buddha said the secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear. When you eradicate fear, you're aligning yourself with love. Oh, well, Wave Rider, thank you for telling me that. You're quite welcome. Thank you. Yeah, Michelle, I love this. I have memories of him very clearly. I can feel him. But what's so interesting now is because I've really come to this point of oneness. Well, when I exhale, the goosebumps rise on my arm, and the hairs stand up, and that fearless presence is the feeling of him. But it's not him as this deity. It's what he feels like because he's in that oneness too. So that to me is that connection. I hope that answers the question. Theo, the only person in the Bible who really has much against homosexuality is Paul. But you have to remember, Paul had problems with sex in general. He thought all Christians should be celibate because the second coming was happening in his lifetime, and there's no reason to have children if there's not going to be a world around to do that. So love in any form is not wrong. And if God is love, then love is definitely not wrong. So I don't think there, in any way, shape, or form, there's any... Well, and also, let me say this. This comment is basically thinking of God as an external who is judging. That's a Christian background or Christian ideology being spoken here. God is simply love. There's no judgment in God. And and the book of John says, perfect love drives out fear. Judgment is fear. And so, absolutely not. Also, let's think scientifically for just a second. Every time the population of male versus female anywhere in the animal kingdom happens, a certain segment of their animal kingdom become homosexual to balance the population. So it's a very natural thing in nature, and I think it's a very natural thing in humanity. And I think that to have anything against that is their own fears and anxieties and their own judgments. And God is love, and there's nothing against anybody if they're loving, period, right? Kazian, I think that's how you say your name. God does not allow anything. God is a provider of our belief. God is an energy that surrounds us and is the illusion that we see. We are created in God's image. This is it. God is not an external judging and allowing suffering. It's not about an allowing at all. We create suffering, and we can stop creating suffering. And if you go to the original intent of the first noble truth of Buddhism, the actual quote is, life is suffering because of our habitual response to our past experience. And when you look at it from that perspective, you realize it's our own beliefs about the now that are creating suffering in the world. Oh, thank you for saying that, Aliyah, or Ali, sorry, Ali and man. Ali. You're quite welcome. We do the live stream every other Friday night. And Chitra's telling you, get your last questions in because I am winding down in 2 minutes. And thank you guys. Oh, good job for you, Jermel. Beautiful. So, I'm going to have a good day, and somebody commented on your hair. They liked it. Beautiful. Armadillo, as I said earlier, the one, this one, actually both of them are painted from memory. This one was painted 6 months after my first regression. This one was painted in September this year, 24. Michelle, I love that. Children do not suffer, do not know how. Well, my friends, this has been a fantastic live stream this evening. I hope you guys had a great time too. I want to show you one thing real quick. When I was cleaning my closet out, I found this. And that's one of the last years of my comedy sword fighting show. Me doing what's known as a punto reverso, a thrust from the left with a slip. I just thought I'd show that because I thought it was a really interesting picture to find in my closet. And And Chitra says my 1 minute is up. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Chitra, thank you for being here and keeping me on time and keeping my voice alive. I have a video coming out tomorrow about this week's water fast results. There's a video coming out on Sunday on the Recovering Catholic channel that is about the non-duality teachings of Jeshua. And then videos all next week. We'll have some fun. There's one coming up next week. I think it's next Friday about who is the Antichrist, which is going to be an interesting video to watch. So you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you very soon. Love you all, and I'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye.
Thank you for joining us at the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and visit us at johnofnew.com.